Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peace. Today's video is all about influencer marketing. Influencer marketing can be so powerful, so useful for your business. You can get an amazing return on investment and you can also get crickets. In this video, I'm just going to be going through a bunch of tips that I found to be really useful. I've used influencer marketing quite a lot in my business, and also I've seen some hits and I've seen some big misses. My first tip is, if you've never used influencer marketing before, then don't overspend. Like, it's very much a testing and learning type of thing. You need to see which kind of influencers are the best for your business, which influencers give you what you need for your business. If you don't know these things, you won't even know what budget to go in mind with, because you won't know what return to expect. So I would just say, when you start small. There are different ways of negotiating rates. You can do things like affiliate codes, so that when you give them a link, they will also earn a commission from every sale that someone buys through that link, as opposed to you just paying them outright. You can also work with micro influencers who tend to have lower audience sizes but better engagement anyway, so you can get really good content from them, sometimes really good results, but they do tend to charge a bit less, which is great. See what you can do to play around with it, but please do not overspend, because it's the worst when you have paid like a amount that's quite chunky or quite meaty for your business at the stage it's at, and you're expecting like a flourish of sales, and it's crickets. Another tip I have is really managing your expectations when you are doing influencer marketing. So I think sometimes people approach influencer marketing expecting it to result in sales, and some influencers are not the type of influencers to bring sales, but what they can do is provide you really good content. So they're more content creators. So people tend to use them interchangeably, but I think it's really important to decipher which one you're going for and which one you're needing, because then it will determine A, how much it's worth spending at the stage you're at, and B, which one you need the most in your business. So if you're a business that needs a very specific type of content, especially if you run ads, I think investing in people that make good content is really worth it, because you're going to scale that content. Like, you're paying a few hundred or whatever the rate is, and you're going to be running ads on these for how long? So it's very much a weighing up as to what makes sense for you. This is why it's good to kind of start small, because as you test and learn, there's no like one fixed rule. Like, there could be a content creator / influencer that is able to influence people to buy for one industry, but for another industry they're just going to deliver really good content but no one's going to purchase. So that's why it's really important to kind of test and learn, and to see what's working for you, what's actually bringing in sales, what's just providing you great content, how are you able to leverage that content to make you more money, like what blend of the two is going to work for you. And that's really a process. Another tip is, when you're deciding like how much is worth to pay the influencer, bear in mind which platform they're on. So for example, I would say YouTube influencers 100% are worth the higher rate than they would charge for Instagram, because YouTube is a search engine and people are going to find the content that they've made showing your products over time if they've ranked it well. Another tip could be, if you know anything about YouTube SEO, you can ask them to include certain like keywords, hashtags, metadata in the description box, so that their video is likely to rank and your product is likely to be found over time. But yeah, even if you don't know much about SEO, in general, they do have like quite a good platform on YouTube, then I would definitely say it's worth spending a bit more on YouTube than Instagram, because Instagram content has the shortest shelf life ever, apart from Reels, which are obviously new and they're getting really pushed out right now. Other than that, unless they're putting in their highlights, the content's gone. Like, no one's scroll. How often do you really scroll down on someone's feed? At least YouTube, it's like, it's going to continually be found. There are influencers I've worked with such a long time ago and they're still bringing sales like months and months later, because it's being found constantly because of the way YouTube and the search engine works. Other tip is, if you haven't watched my videos before, you know I'm all about analytics and data and doubling down on what's working. And so it's really kind of hard to actually track the success of an influencer. Obviously, if they do really well, then you can see that, okay, I'm getting way more sales than usual. But to actually like monetarily see how much value they've brought, so you need to have some sort of system in place. There are a few ways to go about tracking the performance of these influencer collaborations. You can either use a link, like you can create trackable links. There are different apps. So yeah, at least on Shopify, I know that you can create a unique link to your store that you can give to an influencer, so that you know how much traffic is coming from each person. Also really important to space out your influencer collaborations, so that you can gauge exactly how well your store's doing on a day that a specific influencer has posted. Like, you do not want to be having 10 collaborations going at the same time, because we need to track what is working. We really need to track what's working. The easiest way would of course be with a discount code, and yeah, that will just show you how many sales you are getting from that discount code that you've only given to them. So there are different ways of going about it, but please do not skip the step of finding a way of tracking how well your influencers are doing, because how are we going to keep doing what is working if we don't know what is working? So my next tip is so important because this is where I've actually seen the most success from influencer marketing, and it requires you to have a deep understanding of target audiences and customer personas. And it's that do not go for the obvious choice of influencer based on your industry. It doesn't mean you can't actually, but don't only rely on that industry of influencer. So for example, if you have a skincare product, your first thought will probably be like, let me find skincare influencers, which of course makes sense. It's like very commonsensical. However, if you have a deeper understanding of your customer audience, you might be surprised to find that influencers in other industries have a really good performance, like a better performance sometimes than the ones in your industry. Because I think sometimes when it's in your industry, they tend to do a lot of collaborations with brands that are very similar to yours, so it can be harder to stand out. So let me paint a picture. So you have a skincare brand and you want to give it to a skincare influencer. They may or may not bring a lot of sales to your business. I'm not saying do not try it, but also think about, okay, who else is your target customer? Say your skincare brand was targeted at like busy mums who don't have too much time to put into their skincare routine, but they do want to kind of maintain a fresh regime and just do something that can really easily flow into the rest of their routine. Then maybe you want to work with like a mummy blogger. So I hope that makes sense. The pain points that your products solve should be deeper than what the product does, if that makes sense. It should be what the product does and who it does it for. So you might also want to look into influencers in the industries of who your products are for, as opposed to what it does. I really, really hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, then let me know. I'll try to explain it better. Me, that I have a hair brand, I've actually found that one of the best performances I've ever got from an influencer, she's not a hair influencer. I'm going to continue to try out influencers in different industries that I believe my target audience to be interested in and see what the performance is there. And influencers in different industries as well will also allow you to show your product in different lights and in different kind of settings. Next tip is all about when you're actually deciding on which influencer to book with. You need to make sure that their posts actually perform well. What is the actual engagement rate on their posts? Not just in general, but also look at the engagement rate between the engagement on a normal post versus the engagement on a sponsored post. Because what you find sometimes, there are influencers who everyone goes ham for their content, but when it's a content that says ads, everyone's shrimp. Also, following on from my earlier point about tracking an influencer's performance, if you find an influencer that's worked really well for you, maintain that relationship so that maybe in the future you might want to do a longer term partnership. Like maybe you want to send them products over the course of 3 months, or maybe in like different seasons to show like different collections. Definitely maintain that relationship, because it's not easy to find an influencer that works for you and your brand. So definitely double down on what is working. This is what I'm telling you, data is key. It just tells you what's working, and then do it again and again and do it better and do it more and do it differently. But just double down on it, zone in on what's working. So yeah, if you find an influencer that's worked really well for you, then find more ways that you can work together again. Yeah, my last tip, just to sum it up, is overall just have a test and learn mentality. There is literally no one size fits all. There is no one influencer that's going to sort out everyone's business needs. No one influencer strategy that's going to work for everyone. You really do have to test and learn. I really, really hope you found that useful. I'm going to leave some links to some other really useful sort of marketing strategy videos in the description bar. Just check out the description bar for more useful links, and thank you so much for watching this video. Please do like, comment and subscribe, and let me know if you need me to clarify anything or if you have any other video ideas, and I will see you again next week. Bye.